Welcome back to Color Class. I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
And today we are going to be looking at the Emmys, but specifically at the texture of the dresses and gowns at the Emmys.
The Emmys.
Emmys. There we go.
And just when you think you've learned everything you need to know about color, and you are a color pro, you can go out there in the world and you got the tiger by the tail, we're going to throw a wrinkle at you. No pun intended.
Oh, I love that.
Thank you. By teaching texture, because texture is a very important element to get your style right, to get everything all pulled together. And if you strictly think about color, you're going to be missing an important part of the puzzle.
Right. And we know that textures, they all reflect light differently. The way that we perceive the colors of the textures all matter. So
I have a great example.
Yes.
To make sure everybody understands. All of you have seen this phenomenon.
Yeah.
If you've ever painted your wall and you've looked at matte paint versus semi-gloss paint versus gloss paint, and you took the exact same paint, painted them side by side on a wall, all three of those paints look dramatically different.
Right.
And that is because the gloss reflects light in such a way that you perceive it as looking deeper in color, whereas the matte paint reflects light in a way that you perceive it looking lighter in color. But that's just one element we're going to be talking about.
And we are going to be using some fantastic gowns that we saw at the Emmys to do this.
So pretty.
Because first up, we have Kristen Wiig. Now, we wanted to showcase her because you can see there is a lot of texture going on in this dress.
And she looked amazing. So don't get us wrong. In these descriptions and when we talk about these outfits and these stars, they're all absolutely gorgeous. But the texture of Kristen Wiig's dress was not harmonious with her hairstyle or her whole look.
Right. Especially with her hair, because it is so soft because of her highlights. There's a lot of texture going on in her hair. Well, it's creating a softness to it. There's a lot of highlights, lowlights. There's a lot going on that's creating an overall softness that's just not flowing.
This metallic reflection. And by the way, apparently silver medals was the thing. According to Harper's or Vogue, I can't remember. Well, they identified this, but it was pretty obvious that everybody was wearing silver medal, and anybody who wasn't wearing silver medal was very savvy. We'll talk to you about that in a bit.
Yes, we did see some really beautiful gowns that were not metal, but this one, it was very reflective, which of course is going to lean a little bit cooler, and when light reflects, it reflects higher contrast. So this very soft person is now wearing a gown that is very high contrast and heavy reflection, and you're seeing a lot of highlights and lowlights in the gown, creating a lot of contrast, which leads to clarity.
So what happens when she arrives on the red carpet in this dress? What do you notice first?
We instantly look at the dress.
Bingo.
She kind of gets lost behind the dress. The gown steps into the room before she does, and then we find her. So if we were, talking to Kristen, we'd be like, oh, I love that dress. We wouldn't necessarily say, oh, you look so great. That's kind of the keywords that we're looking for.
But if we look at the reverse of this, do you know who did look great in their dress and arrived just before or maybe with their dress?
Susan over here. Love this. Is that velvet up at the top?
Yes, it's very matte. And then it looks like the base of the dress is a fabric that's not reflective, but it's not as light absorbent as the velvet.
Right.
But if you look at her overall textural quality of the bodice of her dress, her hair, then moving down the dress to that sort of high-low train thing going on, then the shoes. Perfect.
And there's a lot of contrast because we have the black and then we have the blue and very sharp distinctions between the two. So we're getting a lot of the clarity and we're getting just an overall well, I hate to say the dress is softer because it's not, but
it's very bold. It's color blocky.
Right. It's blocky. That's a good way to put it.
But
blocky?
Yeah. They're in color blocks.
Right.
But I hate color blocking for women because I like a really statuesque, woman. I don't want anybody cut off. However, she was not cut off. If you look at the shape of the dress and how it's high to low and moves sort of in a triangle up the leg, she didn't get cut off either on the top, which has that deep V, or on the bottom, which had the inverse of that deep V going up the leg. So love this treatment. Yeah. Love this color blocking. And it's stunning.
Now, Kristen Wiig's dress, it looks greenish silver, correct?
It does in the photo, yes. And particularly if you look at the E of the letter in Emmy, that was gold.
Right.
It was pretty consistently
gold. So you can kind of see it's off. I just can't tell if it's silver or if it's greenish.
I think it's a little on the greenish side.
That's what I'm thinking too.
To be honest.
But texture-wise, if she came in with something that was more like a linen or...
Oh, there are millions of fabrics that are softer. Brocades, silks.
It just wouldn't be as...
We'll show you those later, by
high
the way.
contrast. So that would have been a much better texture to work with the softness of her.
Now, what would you do if Kristen Wiig said, I don't care, I love this dress, make it work for me?
So we need to create some contrast. I would pull her hair back because she has darker roots. So if we pull back that hair, what is it going to create? It's going to create more contrast to do it with.
Maybe adjust the makeup a little bit.
We also need to do the makeup. We need to create a little bit more clarity. Depending on the color of that dress, I would really like to know what, because even at the bottom, it's reflecting the red on the carpet. So you're getting a lot of different things going on. And I'm sure like the white lights are probably the photography or the flashes. So we're seeing a lot of that. But we would just need to create high contrast within her makeup and her hair. Right. Pull it all back because she has enough contrast around her hair. Maybe not go for as bronzy of a look because she does have warmer hair. So remember, if your hair is matching your skin tone, that's going to create a softer look. But if we pulled it all the way back, that would create more clarity. Darken the brows just a little bit, a hint, just to create more contrast. The lip color, create a little bit more contrast. And that way, instead of looking directly at the gown, she now has contrast on her face, which makes us look
at her.
Right at her eyes, her whatever.
Yeah.
Her face.
Her. Yeah.
All right, so next up.
Quinta.
This is like
this dress.
I know, this is exactly what we needed to talk about texture.
And of course, this is obviously, if you're talking black, you're talking about a cool color. Right. And this is inner season.
Well, we could have like a charcoal black, which goes softer.
True.
So there is a difference.
True. But
here,
this texture, this kind of high satiny looking.
It's like there's layers to it too.
It's just amazing. It makes the color look cooler.
Right.
By nature. The perceived coolness of this dress based on this high textural treatment, it's going to go cooler. So, and because it's sleek and crisp, it
gives like a polished effect almost.
Absolutely.
And it's matching her eye makeup. So she has the contrast to her eyes with the heavy black liner, with her hair, again, giving the contrast that dress needs. So instead of us immediately looking at the dress, she has contrast. Now, I would have probably gone for a little bit of a darker lip just to bring a little bit more contrast up.
Agree. Or a more intense color on the lip.
Right.
You know, like that Taylor Swift red thing going on.
I shouldn't have said darker. Just anything to create a little bit more contrast. So we still are focusing on her. But, I mean, it's not a bad thing to focus on that dress either. So.
But we always say you don't want the dress to arrive before she does. And it does not. Her beautiful face is right there with the dress.
And there's enough clarity with her eyes, especially when she smiles. Again, that's another, her white teeth create contrast. I know that probably sounds crazy, but it creates contrast. Doing all those things creates contrast. So if you're taking photos and you're wearing something clear and showing those pearly whites helps.
Now, talking about this same dress, enhancing or diminishing features. That's something else texture can do. So talking about the same dress that we just loved, imagine that same dress in fire engine red.
Okay. And very intense, very bright.
Very bold. A bold color in a really shiny fabric. And one of the first things I think about is the classic yellow windbreaker in vinyl.
I'm thinking of latex, like, too. I'm like... That was the first thing, like latex.
Well, either of those things. The classic windbreaker, Sarah's daughter has an adorable little yellow windbreaker. So cute. But it's still really bright and it's really shiny. This dress in fire engine red would be really bright, really shiny. Do you know what happens? That combination can highlight imperfections on the or distract from the face. Again, making that dress show up first and you show up last. But you take that same color, the fire engine red or the yellow, the windbreaker yellow, and you put that same color in a softer textured fabric.
It's going to soften.
The wearer might find that easier to wear and more flattering because you don't get that intense color arriving before you do.
Right. All right. So I have to say, Ayo, not only is she like my favorite person, I love the bear. This dress is so gorgeous. I am blown away. I love the orange with the black. It has a warm base, it looks like. So you're mixing the warm, which is perfect for her skin tone, with the coolness and the black. And you're also getting the high reflectivity. So you have cool colors going on to match her hair. I feel like it brings everything together.
And it was the texture. This texture brings dimension to the colors that were there. The reflectivity is not too much.
Right.
It just makes them more makes the colors more dramatic, and it really works with her. The whole outfit, the texture works with her skin tone. It works with her hair,
right?
And this is an example where it's great. It works beautifully.
I love it, and also again bringing contrast with your teeth. I know that's weird.
It's not weird.
I feel like when I say it, it's so weird, but it brings contrast because we can see that she doesn't have a bright lip. I would have loved to see a bright lip on her here, but she didn't. But her smile is bringing the contrast to her mouth area. And then she has the eye makeup.
Having said that, though, oftentimes you notice the bright lip when the lips are closed. In a sort of a pouting position.
Right.
Once somebody smiles, it thins out the lip, so you see less of a color.
Right.
So she may have, lots of color on her lips, but when it gets thinned out, as long as you still have those pearly whites, adding contrast to the area in the face, you're gold.
I know this is crazy, but I think this is one of the best dresses of the night. I don't
think it's crazy. I think
love
it's
the dimension coming together. I love the coloring, how it's almost like a leopard print. It's perfect.
The thing that makes it quirky and that I love about it is the fact it's reflectivity. So imagine the dress that didn't have this sort of sequence reflectivity on the outer layer of it. It would be whatever. It would be like really ho-hum. It would be like she wore some sort of beach dress to the Emmys.
Right.
But the fact that whole crusting of the outer part of the dress is done with clear sequins and it's got that shine, that texture, makes that dress something special.
Exactly. Let's talk about some no's.
Devery Jacobs. Did I pronounce that properly?
I have no idea.
All right. Well, apologies to anyone who knows that I mispronounced it, and applause to me for pronouncing it properly, whichever. We bring this to you because there's a lot of textural issues between the dress or the under pantsuit and the hair. Now, take away that whole net overgarment,
like the lace, the netting.
Just take it away and look at the white pantsuit vibe, the pulled back hair, the bangs, sort of that whole kind of sleek look.
Chic. Yeah,
perfect.
But once you throw in
they
that,
went at her with that hot glue gun and all that net and stuck that on the outside of it, what happened to the texture? The texture just became like a big mess.
Well, it softens. It softens that sleekness you were getting with the suit. So now you see the color, right?
It arrives before you do. It's
right.
Like, what?
You see the background color coming through. So if you look like around her shoulders where the blue background is shining through, you're getting like you're getting a softer shade, and you don't have the sleekness anymore. So it just softens the overall look when you can see that she would have been stunning as a clear, and her look is made for a clear because she has the very sleek bangs. So I just would have loved to see this without. I think the bottom trim would have been all right.
I want to rip the whole thing off. I want to run up there. I would like to just run up there when she was on the red carpet and just rip that net right off of her and just say, go forth and be beautiful.
I think the bottom would have been fine. It's just the back behind her shoulders. That's what softens the whole thing.
Yeah, we disagree. It was, I think, I mean, I get it. You're kind of hip and shaking. And you even have
the dark buttons for the clarity. So there's
and the
clarity
little red.
Yes, the red button. The shoes are so sleek.
The little pin at the collar. But no, it just, and this is a case where designer's ego went all mad and insane and wanted something that just drew attention to the dress, and whoever the wearer was, whatever that person wanted out of this event didn't matter, because the designer wanted that dress for everybody to be talking about.
But imagine this dress in something like a soft pink, and with somebody who was in a softer color palette.
Actually, there was something like that, and I think when we do our harmony show for the Emmys, you'll see something similar to this in a soft pink. Now, granted, there was not the tuxedo wear underneath; it sort of all pulled together, but it was real feathery. It looked beautiful, and the wearer looked beautiful. But in this case, it didn't work, even though the color is technically in her season. And the reason I wanted to talk about that is because we get questions from people so often on our Patreon page that says, I got this dress and it's absolutely in my season and I don't like it. It doesn't look good on me. People don't like it on me. Why? And it will be the texture. The texture. Here's the case where she's wearing absolutely something out of her season, but that doesn't look good.
The netting, the softness is just throwing it off.
Yeah. Conversely, we wanted to show you Laverne Cox, who was wearing something out of her season, and she looked fabulous because the trim on the black of her dress, which technically wasn't her season, and her neckwear and her hair had such a wonderful polarity. It worked so beautifully together that nobody cared about the black. They just looked at her hair, her jewelry, and her trim. And it was flawless.
She does everything we would recommend, because if you look at, so her hair is a golden blonde. Look at the roots though. We have contrast there. Her eye makeup, we have contrast. Her lips, contrast, like we talked about. Her necklace is creating the frame with her hair. She literally did everything that we recommend. Or sunglasses. She didn't wear sunglasses.
She didn't have to, because her eye makeup is heavy enough.
Right.
But when we always talk about the frame around your face. And thank you, Laverne, for following our advice.
I'm sure you listen to us all the time.
It's exquisite. It's exquisite.
Yes. Thank you.
Now, one of the things I love about Hannah's dress, and we're talking texture here, texture in the hair. What I love about this, the way this whole thing works together, is that her hair has a similar wave to it as the dress.
Right.
So what she's doing is repeating elements. when you repeat elements from the top of your head to the tip of your toes, you look pulled together.
You create harmony all the way through your look. So she's got the wave in her hair, the wave in the dress. It flows together. It's like a waterfall all the way down.
Exactly. And again, this is an element that you try to achieve. You know, you try to achieve a continuity of elements like this that pull a look together. And especially if you're not exactly on target with your coloring, you can use the repetition of shapes or textures or whatever to achieve what you need to achieve and to look great.
And this wasn't quite within her palette either, because she has a very golden blonde hair.
She's very soft.
Right. Now, I would have loved to see a brighter lip color, but again, her teeth are bringing contrast. Eye makeup was bringing contrast. And if you look at the bottom of her hair, we have black. So we have contrast. Now, she could have pulled off something a little bit warmer, lighter, softer, yes.
But she got that repetition of elements so perfectly that was not an issue. So kudos to her hairstylist, who probably looked at her dress, who knew exactly what dress she was wearing before she got her final style.
I would have loved to see maybe a slightly different color of gown.
I hear what you're saying.
You know.
But it does help us show that this treatment does make a color okay.
Yeah, I feel like she's just a little hidden. That's all.
A little bit.
The dress arrives a little bit before her. We need a little bit more contrast.
Yeah, or the dress needs to be a little bit softer. But the hair and the perfect.
Yes, waves all the way down. Now, somebody else who did the texture thing.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
Liza.
Yes. And again, from the Bear. Love her. We have the curly haired girls.
lots of texture. You can see
in her dress,
the shape of the curls in the pattern of the dress. So you've got the head, you got the toe,
right,
and it just works.
It's almost like her dress is like perfect for curly hair. I mean, it has a texture, a waviness to it. I mean, what else can I say but curl? Yeah, it almost looks like the dress has curls in it, like if you were drawing curls or something. Yeah. It's kind of what the dress is.
There you go. Yeah. Texture.
And this is a beautiful color for her. So, a chef's kiss to Liza over here. Now, we hope you enjoyed this little Emmys dip into texture. I know we've just slightly dipped our toe in before, but we will keep talking about texture more and more because it is such an important part of color analysis.
And we did a drop recently on our Patreon page, a little cheat sheet on texture. If you want to read that, go ahead over to that. I think it's up for all members.
You can, at the end of this video, you can click the link to go on over, or down in the comments, you can find our Patreon link. We are also available on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you want to help us out here on YouTube, you can like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, you haven't forgotten subscribe in so long.
I'm getting it. Good at that. Yes. So thank you for all your support. We are so happy to have you here. Lastly, I'm Sarah.
I'm Lucinda.
This has been another color class, and we'll see you in our next video.